It's the 13th century and a middle-aged man named Osman is a leader of an Anatolian tribe in the post-Mongol times. Osman is oftenly nicknamed Daddy of the Ottomans as many believe he was the first sultan. Fun fact: the word Ottoman comes from his name. Osman and his son conquered some of the westlands of Romania and took the city of Edirne, which became their new capital.
Bayezid, the next sultan, goes on to conquer more land, and in a decade he doubles the size of the empire, expanding into the Balkans and eastern Anatolia. This great success gave him the name Bayezid Thunderstruck. After Bayezid's great victory, there was one problem left facing the empire, and it was the once great Christian city of Constantinople. It separated the Romanian lands and the Anatolian lands of the empire. Then out of nowhere a civil war broke out, which is the only civil war to ever break out in Ottoman history due to a very brutal monarch system which worked like this. If a sultan had more than one children, the heir to the throne, which is the oldest child, would become the legitimate son of the sultan, and the rest would be killed. After the civil war ended, Mehmed, the second son of Bayezid, became sultan. Mehmed saw Constantinople as an important city as it controlled the Black Sea. Mehmed was a very smart guy, so instead of sieging the city for months, he offered the Byzantinians to give him the city for peace. The Byzantinians obviously said no, go away. So Mehmed II ordered his men to bombard the city day and night, and it worked. Mehmed then went on to conquer parts of modern-day Syria, Arabia, Israel. He even took the south of Crimea. It's time for a new sultan, and this time it's Suleiman the Magnificent. Suleiman's life is full of great battles and geopolitics, therefore Suleiman's entire life will have its own video, but we will show Suleiman's life in a simplified version now. During Suleiman's time as Sultan, the Ottoman Empire reached its biggest size, even spreading into North Africa. Suleiman and his great armies conquered Belgrade. This is a key event in Ottoman history, as Belgrade was the only thing standing between the Ottoman armies and Europe. This also caught the attention of the great European powers of the Holy Roman Empire and the Polish Commonwealth. Suleiman was ambitious, and he knew that if he could take the city of Vienna, it would open the road to the conquest of Europe. Suleiman underestimated the defenders of Vienna and he lost the battle. Suleiman never recovered from this terrible defeat. A century and a half later, Kara Mustafa, the Ottoman Sultan, wanted to avenge the defeat of Suleiman in Vienna, so he marched his armies to Vienna. The powers of Europe saw this as a threat to the Christian domination of Europe, and the Holy League assembled an army to aid Vienna. The Ottomans outnumbered the Holy League, and they needed help, and that help was coming from Poland. The city was surrounded by 170,000 Ottoman soldiers and many cannons firing upon the city walls. They also built trenches along the walls. The German forces have arrived first. 47,000 German soldiers under the command of Archduke Charles. Kara Mustafa ordered half of the siege force, 75,000, to attack the German forces. The Germans organized themselves on top of a hill. This could have gone terribly wrong for the Germans, as their right flank was undefended, because that was where the elite Polish cavalry was supposed to be. At 4 a.m. Ottoman forces and German forces began to exchange fire as the Ottomans advanced towards the undefended right flank. The Polish cavalry was seen on the horizon. 27,000 heavy armored horses galloped like a stampede of elephants, striking fear into the Ottoman attackers. As the Ottomans came dangerously close to the right flank, the Poles charged full speed into the Ottoman line. Kara Mustafa ordered a retreat to the walls of Vienna. The Poles have saved the Germans. The combined forces of Poland and the Germanic kingdoms of Saxony, Bavaria and others knew that if the Ottomans had enough time to regroup, they could launch a successful counter-attack. King Jan Sobieski II of Poland led the world's largest cavalry charge in history. 90,000 horses led by the elite winged hussars charged through the unorganized army of Kara Mustafa, who by now ordered a full retreat to Ottoman soil. This marked the end of the Ottoman conquest of Europe. From here nothing important happened until 1912, when the Balkan countries attacked the Ottoman Empire and won. This was known as the First Balkan War. This is what the Balkan region looked like at the end of the war. 1914 The Ottoman Empire was hesitating to join the First World War, but some of the politics fired at Russia and the Ottoman Empire joined the Central Powers on 29 October 1914. The Ottomans launched an attack on Russia through the northern border, but due to the cold weather and mountains, the Ottomans were pushed back and forced into a stalemate. The British War Council opened a new front in Gallipoli which was supposed to take the Ottomans out of the war and make a supply line to Russia, but due to really bad planning and leadership the Gallipoli campaign was won by the Ottomans. Many described Gallipoli as the final victory of the Ottomans. After the First World War the Ottoman Empire was divided and the Republic of Turkey was formed. In conclusion, the Ottoman Empire dominated the Middle East and due to poor decision-making, it collapsed. Thanks for watching Accurate History.